How in the world did a small country boy end up here? You know, I come from a small town in Texas, and I would have never in a million years thought that I would end up first in the Amazon jungle and then in Africa. You're trying to, you know, carry your water, you're trying to cook your meals, you're trying to get everybody fed, you're trying to study your Bible, learn your stories, learn your language, and then something else happens.
As we see starvation up close, as we see hopelessness up close, as we see violence up close, and then, you know, we all asked ourselves, what is it going to take for us to stay? Because leaving wasn't an option.
The Karamojong are shepherds. Their lives revolve around cows, goats, and sheep. They know hunger from the time they're children. They understand what it is to suffer and struggle.
They don't grow enough food for themselves. Even whole villages with, you know, all of their gardens put together, they only grow enough food for a few months out of the year.
They're very warlike, and they thrive on confrontation and violence. That's even part of their everyday interaction with one another. The men especially, they're very proud, and they like to strut around and show people how dangerous they are. They are people that have known war and famine and suffering, most of them their entire lives.
The Karamojong are raiders, and because of that raid and robbing, they don't sleep. People sleep with worries at night that maybe people are going now to come.
And the people live in what's called manyatas, which are these fenced-in villages. They build those fortresses so that their enemies can't come and attack them, or it's not easy for their enemies to get into the village. So you have to get down on your knees, crawl in, and there's another area with 1 or 2 huts. And then you go through another little hole, and there's a hallway of sticks, and then another little hole. And so they just live in these, almost like a honeycomb, where it's just their little family inside sticks, inside the outer gate.
They have no concept of a God who loves them, of a God who has sacrificed for them. They don't enjoy fellowship with God. It is a fear of God.
It's hard to give Jesus to somebody that's hungry and that's worried about what's going to happen tomorrow, but those are the people that once they do grab a hold of Jesus, they grab a hold of him fully because they realize that he's their only hope.
Oh, yes, sir. Oh, yes, sir. Kitty Mokenai. Oh, yes, sir. Kitty Mokenai. Kitty Mokenai. Abonga Yamuniko. Oh, yes.
When we signed on the dotted line and said we want to follow Jesus, that means we left everything behind. And that he is now my hopes and my dreams. Yes, it's difficult sometimes, but then we look around and we say, wow. We live in the middle of Africa surrounded by warriors. Every night, just about, we hear them beating on drums and dancing. We're able to see people come to Christ that have no hope in their lives and they've never heard of Jesus.
They should be able to have the opportunity to hear the gospel in a way in which they can understand and in a place that's accessible to them. Not only for the young men who can travel to the city, but for the old women who die every day. To be able to live in a world of fear for your whole life, and then someday you meet somebody and they say, the God who created this world and who created you, he loves you, and he sent his son to die for you. And some, a few, have been willing to change their lives. What we have seen God call some of these Karamojong to do is something that's very difficult. When they begin to tell us about how they want to take this message of Christ to their neighbors who live far away from where they live, then as people who have also left our own homes, we realize that there are going to be tremendous hardships, and we want for them to be equipped no matter the price that they will be required to pay. And if we sent them out alone, then they would not make it because they wouldn't be able to stand. But if we send them out as the church, then they can stand against the world. Christ is worth it. There's no price that would be too big to be able to walk in obedience to him and to see him change people's lives. Jesus is worth it.